Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to tell you when to never, ever buy a Chrysler product. When you open the hood and see this, FCA US LLC, Fiat Chrysler United States Limited Liability Corporation, because man, they want to limit their liability as far as they possibly can. I find that ironic because when you look inside, there it is right there, US LLC, but we look down here, what does it say? Made in Canada. Now, if you know the old joke about the Grand Caravan, why can you fit 8 people inside a Dodge Caravan? Well, in this case, you have to put the seats back in. The answer is so that 7 people can get out and push it while the driver steers to the nearest repair shop. Now, in the case of this particular Caravan, 20,000 miles after buying the car used, the transmission started to go out. So, she had a factory remanufactured transmission put in with a 100,000 mile warranty, which cost about $6,000. But that didn't fix it. Then she took it back to the dealer, and they said, oh, we tested it, and the left side head on the engine is bad, and they need to rebuild the engine for many, many thousands more. This has both problems, the engine and the transmissions, theoretically. But I don't trust anybody. Who knows if it even needed a transmission in the first place? So I'm getting my computer out. I'm going to analyze this stupid thing. This isn't a Nova scan tool. It's about a $600 scan tool. It's got all kinds of modern software in it. Not the same as any other scan tool. Plugs into the data port. Of course, you always get them upside down. 50-50, but it's almost always wrong. It immediately knows it's a 2017 Dodge Caravan and the VIN number. So let's do a diagnosis. We'll do a complete network scan. There we go. Over the years, I've had so many customers get ripped off of Chrysler dealers. I got to the point that today, I don't believe a word they tell anyone. Especially since Fiat and Chrysler merged, because you get mechanics that have now a lot of Italian technology that they don't really understand, and they keep paying the guys less and less. I had a friend back in Houston who was the #1 automatic transmission expert at River Oaks Chrysler, and he quit because they kept lowering his pay, and he ended up making more money spraying Chemlon on people's lawns than he did being the #1 automatic transmission rebuilder. So the quality of their labor is starting to go downhill pretty fast. Usually this takes a little while because it's scanning every single module in the vehicle. Modern cars have anywhere between 56 and 100 different modules. These machines are integral to analyzing problems. You get to see if there's any problem in the modules, and then you can go to live data and check the live data. Now, starting it up and putting it into gear, I can definitely feel a rumble. There's a little rumble to it. Now, this car is less than 4 years old and only has 89,000 miles. But basically, it's idling like an old junker van that has 200,000-300,000 miles and is 30 years old. And it's got 4 failed modules and says it needs a battery too. So let's check the modules. It has a cylinder 6 misfire, multiple misfires. The intake air temperature sensor is high. The manifold absolute pressure sensor circuit is high. The throttle position sensor circuit is high. And the throttle position sensor 2 is low. So basically it has a whole bunch of problems. Now, let's just say these aren't the greatest made vehicles in the world. Here we got an engine. They're notorious for having problems. These V6 engines that they put in these things. This is my all data repair system. This is a technical bulletin about engine oil consumption in this engine. And what does it say? It says varying rates of oil consumption is normal in this engine. The accepted rate of oil consumption is 1 quart in 2,000 miles. Just shows what crap they're putting out. Take my old Celica. It's a 1994 with 240,000 miles. And yeah, it's old, so it burns a tiny amount of oil. It uses half a quart every 4,000 miles. Oh, a quart every 2,000 miles in a brand new engine. Oh, that's normal. That's acceptable. Maybe to those clowns. Now, this is a 3.6 liter variable valve timing Pentastar engine. This is the #1 bank here. This is the #2 bank here. And the #2 bank has problems with valve seals. Or I should say, valve seats. Where the valve seat in the heads, they have a tendency of cracking and breaking. And in this case, it is the #2 cylinder, the one in the front, that isn't running correctly. And as I said, don't buy one of these Fiat Chrysler US Limited Liability Corporation vehicles. Because what did the dealer say to the lady? We're not fixing anything for free. We can change that head, but we'd advise you to replace the whole engine. She also contacted the Fiat Chrysler company, and they pretty much said, hey, are you about the car? It's yours, and we are not gonna fix it free. The fact that a vehicle this new, that's been taken care of, the woman made a mistake. She has owned many Toyotas in the past, but she got divorced and her husband took the 4Runner and left her with this. She should have stuck with Toyotas, but she made a mistake, bought this thing. Now she's stuck between a rock and a hard place. She already had to put a factory remanufactured transmission in, and if she's got to have this fixed or replaced entirely if you want it to last a long time, she's going to have to spend even more money. Which is why I tell everyone, stay away from these things. They're rolling piles of junk. They always have been. They probably always will be. I guess they're not going to be making the Caravans anymore, but they don't stand behind the vehicles and they don't build them very well either. Now the company itself, Fiat Chrysler, touts how it has more power, better gas efficiency, la 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 la. Let's sing the praise of a piece of crap engine that couldn't even go 100,000 miles before it started breaking out internally, and the automatic transmission only lasted 80,000 miles before it crapped out. That is not good technology. That is not good manufacturing. It is just not good. So they're kind of like the insurance agent that talks to you. Oh yeah, I'll save you money. I'll get you the best insurance. Then something happens. Oh, sorry, you're not covered for that. There's a 10,000 deductible for this. It's the same thing with these clowns. They talk about how great their stuff is, but when it actually breaks down, do they stand behind it? No, they don't. And when I stick my head under here and smell, I can smell coolant, which wouldn't surprise me. With the head going out, it's probably going to ruin the head gasket too. I asked the lady, I said, why on earth did you buy this van? Why didn't you get a Toyota Sienna van? Well, they cost too much, even used. She bought this used. And I said, it may seem that it costs too much. Look at the money you've put in, the money you're going to have to put in. You're losing out. You're better to pay more, get a Toyota, drive it forever, don't have any problems, than to chance with one of these clunkers. So she paid more for the Sienna. She'd probably be driving that for 10, 20 years. She said this thing for a couple of years and it's falling apart. So if you want to have a nice, happy, safe life with less hassle and problems, if you're even thinking about buying a Chrysler, don't. But if you are, take a look at this. You see this? Run away. Don't buy it. There were much better vehicles when they were Daimler Chrysler, but Mercedes sold the company because they were losing a fortune. So when they sold it to a holding company, had it for 7 years, then they sold it to Fiat. Now, of course, they're part of Stellantis, Peugeot, Fiat, and Chrysler, the three stooges of car manufacturing. My grandfather's been long dead, but he's probably rolling in his grave over that one. He couldn't stand Chryslers in the 1940s and 50s and 60s. Imagine what he would think of Stellantis. So unless you like buying automatic transmissions and engines, stay away from these modern Caravans. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Mr. Bob has a great story. I got a 3-month-old Kia 2021 Sorento. The heat was never great, but the dealer said, oh, that's the way those cars are. Well, I discovered there's a red tag behind the glove box that said remove on delivery. So I went inside and there was shrink wrap covering the cabin air filter. I took it off and now it works fine. Boy, they just lied to me. I'm amazed about this. I'm not. The people at those places are idiots. They always say that's the way they are. The dealers don't know that's the way those cars are. Blatant liars. And you go in and see, well, the plastic was covering it so the air didn't get intake hardly at all because the stupid filter was in a wrap that they're supposed to take off. And that's just how those dealers are. They just lie. Everything comes out of their mouth. If your car doesn't shift right, oh no, that's how those are supposed to be. And I see it every day. It just amazes me. They don't care. They should have said, well, let's investigate. Now all the guy would have to do is open a glove box and see the red tags there and then realize the idiots didn't take it off. That just shows you the kind of people that own the places. They're supposed to prep the cars to bring to you when you buy a new car. They didn't even check the prep to take it off. It's just typical. Just be happy that it wasn't your transmission that was broken. I just can't believe the stupidity that goes on in these places. It just totally amazes me, huh? Don Rubb says, I overfilled my power steering reservoir above the max line. I noticed today that the reservoir is back on the max line and not above it. Here's the thing about power steering fluid. It puts out a lot of pressure, sometimes as much as 1,500 pounds per square inch. It gets hot. As it gets hot, the fluid expands and contracts. Now, it's only supposed to be up to the max line, never higher. You filled it up probably when it was hot. And then when it cools down, it goes back down. You want it on the max line when it's hot, not when it's cold. So if it goes up to the max line when it's cold, but then when you run it, it goes a little higher. When it's higher, suck a little bit out so it's at the max line when it's hot. It'll go down a little when it's cold, up when it's hot. The old cars were better designed, and they had a line that said cold on the bottom and then hot a little higher. That would show you when it's cold, fill it to the cold line, when it's hot to the hot line. But a lot of them don't have that anymore, but you could make your own line if you wanted. Or just check it when it's hot, and then it should be at the max line. That's how you check them. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.